Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. And thank you especially to the people who help make this show possible for you every single day with their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. So this is our deep dive episode related to the Acolyte and episode 2, Revenge Justice. In particular, we're talking about the background of the line that May delivers to Master Torben when she tells him, "I know why you took the Barash Vow." Now, there's enough context delivered in the scene to suggest that, yeah, taking the Barash Vow is because something bad happened. But yeah, we're going to talk more about what the situation is with that and some additional storytelling from the comics about the vow and what it actually means for what's going on here in the Acolyte. First of all, yes, the Barash Vow largely is an act of penitence where the taker of the Barash Vow cuts themselves off from the activities of the Jedi Order. They dedicate themselves to communing with the Force, to refocusing on it, and basically that's it. Not undertaking any activities for the Jedi Order whatsoever. The first time we learn anything about the Barash Vow is in the comics. So in the Darth Vader series that takes place immediately after the fall of the Republic, Emperor Palpatine says he has to take a lightsaber away from some other Jedi in combat, and that's how he can get his own lightsaber. He's going to have to bleed the crystal and do all of that. Well, Order 66 happened, so that's kind of a problem. So Vader has the bright idea to query a database about all Jedi who have taken the Barash Vow, which according to the comics is something like 14,000 Jedi over the course of its history. And because of the fact that these various Jedi had taken the Barash Vow and were not participating in the Jedi Order, they were not affected by Order 66. They were not hunted down by the clones. Suffice it to say, Vader finds one and kills him, and also causes a huge flood that kills a lot of innocent people. So yeah, it's a really bad scene. But yeah, he gets his lightsaber. But the Barash Vow itself only dates back to about 380 BBY in phase 1 of High Republic storytelling. So 14,000 Jedi took the Barash Vow over the course of less than 400 years. We're not actually talking about the entire history of the Jedi. So I mean, it seems kind of significant. And it's named for Jedi Master Barash Sylvain, who was on a mission and got manipulated into making conflict that she was supposed to be helping resolve make it even worse. And so she decided to withdraw from the Jedi Order until she felt that she could more clearly focus on and hear the Force the way that it would be speaking to her. So yeah, the Barash Vow was named for Jedi Master Barash Sylvain. Now the Barash Vow isn't always about atonement. Sometimes it can be used as a response to trauma for all intents and purposes. So for example, there was a Jedi who had been captured by the Drengir, those dark side plants that were pretty awful in phase 1 of the High Republic, and once that Jedi got away from them, his means of dealing with the effects of being under the Drengir's influence was he decided to take the Barash Vow and to recenter and refocus himself on the Force as a means of healing. Now, let's talk about its appearance in the Acolyte. So Master Torben, we are told, has taken the Barash Vow, and we also hear that Master Torben has been meditating and hasn't talked to anyone in more than a decade. We know that the events on Brendok that are our inciting incident for a lot of this stuff happened 16 years ago, so it's fair to imagine that the Barash Vow is being undertaken as a direct result of whatever happened on Brendok. And clearly Torben feels badly about this. His penance, his atonement is taking the Barash Vow, shutting himself off from the Jedi Order. And I mean, even though he's meditating in a Jedi temple, but you know, that's a small thing. And yeah, he found a safe place to do it. So good for him. But he's been trying to make peace with himself for whatever happened for more than a decade, and it's not working. He knows he's at fault for something bad, even though, as he tells May, that they were trying to do the right thing. But here's the thing, unlike how Yord and Jeki were caught by surprise in hearing that Osha had a twin, that it wasn't in their records or anything like that, everybody ought to know that Master Torben has taken the Barash Vow, especially Indara and Sol and Kelnaka. Like, they wouldn't not know that he had taken the Barash Vow. And so that raises a couple of questions for us as well. First of all, we see Kelnaka on a forest retreat, seemingly away from every other, Jedi Order thing, and not in Jedi Order robes when we see him in that last moment of the second episode. So it kind of does suggest that maybe he's taken the Barash Vow as well. We don't know for sure, but we do know for sure that Master Saul and Master Indara did not take the Barash Vow, because we see Indara out and about in the world before May shows up, and of course Master Saul is still active in the Jedi Temple and is teaching younglings, for pity's sake. And we know from some of the ways that Master Saul has been acting about this whole situation that he knows that something is wrong, and he seems to have been covering up something. At least it seems pretty clear that that's the case based on what he's been saying and the way that the audio description has been talking about his gestures and glances and so forth. He must know that he's done something wrong. Master Indara probably knows that she did something wrong, and Kelnaka probably knows too, and it's only a matter of time until the word gets out. And as a last little thing about the Barash Vow, I'll just mention this fun fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi himself took the Barash Vow for a period of time, and that is actually mentioned in Kristen Baver's excellent book, Skywalker: A Family at War. And we get to see him breaking the Barash Vow, or at least deciding that he's done with it for the time being, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And so that's what I've got for you on our deep dive episode related to Revenge/Justice, which is the second episode of The Acolyte, and that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. If you enjoy the show, please help me get it into the ears and eyes of more people who might enjoy a daily dose of Star Wars joy like this. You can do that really easily just by telling Star Wars friends that you know, or telling algorithms with ratings and reviews and likes and subscribes and follows and joins and comments. And you can even help me in the creation and production of this independent Star Wars podcast. And it doesn't cost more than a cup of coffee a month, or a couple of cups of coffee, depending on the level that you choose. You can learn more about that at patreon.com/SW7X7. And thank you very much for considering it. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the podcast, as always. And may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyrighted by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.